Welcome, my kitties. My name is Doom, and you're joining me for another evening of ancient high tech. When these two camps clash, the ancient high tech camp and the debunk camp, these lighthouses are often brought up to argue or minimize the reality of advanced polygonal masonry in Peru. The debunk camp uses these towers and says things like, "Do you even know how the bell rock was built? It has advanced polygonal masonry in it, intricate, super difficult to make, and it was made in the 19th century with simple tools like chisels and wedges." And if these towers were popped up all over the place by us using simple tools like chisels and wedges, then sure as hell the polygonal masonry in Peru was done by the Inca using those same basic tools. This is sort of the logic and the argument that comes up. I've seen this multiple times, and of course, this is based on a fallacy. The fallacy is simple. These towers have nothing to do with polygonal masonry. They're not considered polygonal masonry. There's not a single block in here that would be considered polygonal. And today I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how these towers were built and what this is all about. So we're going to just skim through SGD's videos. It's about 7 minutes here. We're going to get to the bell rock and just focus on that tower.
In this video, we'll look at lighthouses in specific, granite lighthouses, and those in UK Ireland. So here we have Eddystone Lighthouse. We have the current one, and we see this a remaining piece of what's called Smeaton's Tower. Okay, now Smeaton's Lighthouse, constructed 1756 to 1759. Diamond technology was not available. Advanced CNC milling technology was not available. This lighthouse was dismantled and rebuilt, not because it was failing, but because the rocks underneath were failing. Now, it was replaced with what's called Douglas's Tower or Douglas's Lighthouse, 1878 to 1881 construction. Again, long predating laser advanced precision machining CNC tools. So obviously these are an inheritance of the lost Atlantean civilization, obviously, because people weren't available, couldn't do these type of things. Now, here we see a picture of high tide and low tide. So the bottom right, you can see dismantled Smeaton's Tower and the Douglas Tower. So so they had to wait until low tide was going. So it's unless you're looking in Antarctic islands or something, you'd be really struggling to find a more harsh, difficult condition to work. And just a reminder, all of these lighthouses are built of granite. Here's a view. There's a video.
Not just granite. Not just granite. They're built of sandstone as well. A mixture of granite and sandstone.
I'll put the link in the description. So we're looking from Douglas's Tower down to the remains of Smeaton's Tower, and you can see the older photo, the black and white sepia. The waves are so strong, so crazy strong, are the natural forces putting pressure on these towers that it's broken off these granite blocks. Just incredible forces in there. You can see some of those are starting to be pried loose, but the rest of them facing away from the direction of the waves are more intact. Tremendous, awesome forces going on. Now, how strong? The waves that are hitting these lighthouses each wave has the equivalent of a very, very strong earthquake. So absolutely massive forces being employed. Now you can also apply. Now also you can see the holes drilled in there. So it's dovetailed, interlocking granite blocks. You can even notice the shape of the tower. It's the design was based on an oak branch, so that the forces of the waves would be directed up and then out from the tower itself. And the holes were for granite blocks, but marble dowels to better hold each layer together. This was Smeaton's Tower, and then soon after, large amounts of these types of lighthouses were built just around the island and the UK there. Now we can see there's on the floor there's a plan of one of the layers. So not each layer was the same. So at the base it changed, and as it moved up, but we get an idea of the dovetailed polygonal blocks and also the larger dowels.
Dovetailed polygonal
in there, but the key one to focus on is the central one, because that has 20 sides in there. Very, very complex dovetailed fitting of granite blocks done by hand. And we'll address, I've done videos before with people, you don't need steel, people with flint tools, stone pounders have done experiments, replicas on these things. Now the Lost High technology community will very strongly go out of their way to hide this information and then say, well, it doesn't exist and they haven't done this. Well, they have, too bad, but all right. So as an example, this is in France. Now just as a good shot, because it gives you an idea of the forces of the waves that are coming in there. Each wave has the power of a strong earthquake. Each storm will hit this lighthouse with dozens, if not hundreds of waves year after year after year. absolutely awesome engineering long before modern machinery, modern materials. We're still talking very even the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution, where there was no, as we call precision modern machinery, just didn't exist in that time. Here are some diagrams, so you can see on the left-hand side, on the bottom right corner, at Eddystone, the Smeaton Tower, how the stone was cut, and then blocks, courses of stone was built up to create the base, a solid base of granite, of very complex interlocking stones. And they're also circular. Now the imagery, because of the way it was digitized, the folds in the page sort of distorted a bit, but it was very, very cleverly designed. Here's some other examples of how you move up through the layers. It was not just the same each layer up, depending the lower portions to the higher ones actually changed the design. And there you get an idea of how the lighthouse was designed to be like an oak trunk or an oak branch, and to drive the foot to limit the forces being applied by those absolutely massive waves and winds that are, again, year after year after year. It's polygonal masonry, layers upon layers. So it's, now, Saxo Waman, that's limestone. It's not andesite, it's not igneous rock. It is limestone with copper tools, with stone tools. Very, very, very easy to work in that sense. Now you do have those Incan polygonal walls, which are made out of andesite or granite. But again, count the numbers of the stones, the size of the stones, and compare them to lighthouses such as these. And, well, it's... now, considering also the number of these of these type of lighthouses, so we go back to Eddystone. So Smeaton's lighthouse dismantled because the rock it was built on was failing, not because of the lighthouse itself. Douglas's lighthouse, that introduced a more complex form of dovetailing of interlocking blocks in Smeaton's tower. Another example is Bell Rock, which is up on the eastern Scottish coast, and again, you can see that at low tide, same sort of thing. They had to go in at low tide and do the work. So high tide versus low tide. So again, absolutely, you're really stretching it to try and find more difficult construction techniques. Now there's some of the illustrations again of the intricate dovetail pattern, course upon course, different patterns on different levels. Also the holes for the dowels and these larger plugs that were in there to reinforce each layer. And we'll get to more complex stuff because well, we'll come to that. We'll show you. So there's just like a model showing, but just the extreme difficulty of each position. Again, so if you want to go Cusco and Machu Picchu and look at those interlocking stones, well.
So now he's calling the Cusco and the Machu Picchu stones interlocking. These are polygonal and the Cusco are interlocking. See what he's trying to mix the two together, switch them around completely, blend them together so this lighthouse somehow becomes polygonal masonry connected directly to Cusco, which is, totally wrong. I'm going to get to that in a second.
Compare the size and the number in there. This is polygonal masonry, but,
So this is polygonal masonry, but the Cusco stones were interlocking, right? So let's just stop here and look at this bell, the Bell Rock Tower and how it was built. So just like any building, a car, an engine, there's always going to be a model built. Whether this model is built out of clay or wood, these models go down. So that's what was done for this structure. A wooden model was erected, the size of this room or maybe this big, right? The coolest Lego set a child has seen, with each stone numbered. For example, a model with blocks this big. So what I did here is I just created this stone right here. Pretend this was one stone. This is a piece of granite, right? I just created this little model out of wood. This is the general shape of it, all straight cuts. And then I mapped out the center line. Then I take this, let's say I scaled it already, and I take this model, I put it on a rectangular granite slab that was really easy to quarry and shape in the 19th century, right? It's just a rectangular block of granite. These stones did not exceed the weight of 1.5 tons for this specific structure. So all of these rocks are manageable. You take this model, you put it on a rectangular piece of granite, right? And you produce this. This is your stone now. And then you draw this line on there. With Cape chisels, you just split the stone. Boom, you get your two stones. So for this, SGD said that they're all made of granite. They're not. For these base courses of the Bell Rock, only these 4 stones are granite, 1, 2, 3, 4, and they are on a repeater pattern. So the exterior of the stones, or the exterior of the tower is granite, and this is all sandstone. So you get something like 52 exterior granite stones with 73 inner core sandstone. Also, really important to notice about the manufacturing process of this structure is all of these cuts are straight. There's not a single curved cut. They just appear curved, like if you squint your eyes, right, they look curved, but there's not a single curved cut. Just like there's not a single curved cut here or here. All of these cuts are straight. Why? Because it's simple to do that. It's simple to replicate the blocks if all of your cuts are straight. It's pretty easy to cut sandstone as is. Doesn't matter how many corners you have. You just, draw lines on it from the model and off you go. So this structure is a prefabricated dovetail system that is granite and sandstone. This is a prefabricated dovetail system granite and sandstone structure. That's what this is. This has nothing to do with polygonal masonry. All of these blocks were prefabricated in a facility in warmth with little models, with dudes with cape chisels, just hammering out these blocks, right? Doesn't matter if some of them were curved. And anyway, all of this is sandstone because this bell rock, after 27th course, everything was sandstone. Granite was no longer implemented. So all straight cuts, all prefabricated, and they were just being shipped down to site, to the location. And the men on location obviously got the short end of the stick because the conditions were hardcore. I mean, they lost 2 people, but they were so efficient at this. This is the base course. You have 16 different blocks. You have 4 granite, 12 sandstone. These dudes were so efficient, the assembly team on site, that they put down 3 of these base courses in 80 hours, in just 2 weeks. That's how much work they put in one season because of the low and high tide fluctuations. I think they had like 2 2-hour windows per day. So first they carved a hole and then they set these 3 courses in 80 hours. This should tell you how simple this build is. Obviously, the fabrication people are separate. It's also time consuming. But once these blocks are on site, you just you just stack them. All of them, they were delivered on a 10-ton boat. They used the same goddamn horse, Dassey, poor animal, and off to the races. So this is not called polygonal masonry. SGD made that up. He pioneered this fallacy, this confusion, and it caught traction. And now his fanboys are using it all the time. Well, haven't you seen at the Bell Rock? How can it? No, it's completely different build. It's prefabricated. You want me to show you polygonal masonry that I did? Look at this. Oh my god, it's polygonal masonry. Guess how many blocks there are here? Minus these ones. These are all the same. Guess how many blocks are in this pattern? 1. 1 block. It's the same block with a different print on it. So these are obviously poured and shipped to me in a pallet. But if they were carved out of granite in these shapes, with obviously straight cuts everywhere, they were brought to me in a pallet and I laid them out. Would that be polygonal masonry? No, it wouldn't be. That would be a granite patio made out of prefabricated blocks. That's what that would be. Right? No engineering involved. I just plopped them down. What if you brought me, a granite patio that had 3 stones in a pattern, or 16 different stones, and I had to follow a specific pattern, and you gave me a piece of paper to follow that pattern? It would not be polygonal masonry. It would just be a patio pattern job made out of granite that was prefabricated somewhere by other people. which is exactly what happened with the Bell Rock, right? The crew that's fabricating these stones have nothing to do with the assembly crew. I think the assembly crew was like 15 men on site. 2 of them died. Fortunately, again, I don't want to undermine this project. This is massive. This is a great engineering feat, right? These dudes literally, some of them sacked their lives for it. So, great project, not impossible, not hyper advanced, and has nothing to do with Peruvian polygonal masonry. Here's another expert stonemason, Dr. David Miano, that we all love. He has this piece on polygonal masonry, and he just kind of went through a bunch of these walls, and he stopped on this, right? And then we're just going to stop on it too. So, Dr. David Miano's argument was, look, people, we had polygonal masonry this whole time everywhere, right? No big deal. This right here, if bricklaying is level 3, this is level 2, right? This is easier than bricklaying. Bricklaying, you gotta first shape the brick, fire it, right? Deliver it on site. This, you just take a rubble of stones, dump it on site, and off you go, right? This is polygonal, like stack stone wall. I've done these walls. This is a highly rewarding, you know, way to spend your time. These walls just come together wonderfully. You just grab a block and then they somehow match. You're like, oh my god, I'm so good. And then you modify another block and it matches too. And you're like, incredible, and off you go. Obviously, this is really basic. It's simple. It has nothing to do with Peruvian walls. Zero. But David obviously compares them to Peruvian walls. This right here, if bricklaying is level 3, this is level 2. Bricklaying is level 3. This is level 20 because of its size and difficulty, working conditions. Level 2 for this, level 3 for bricklaying, level 20 for this. This is level 99. When people think of polygonal masonry in Peru, they think like, oh, there's just, some odd-shaped blocks. They're all kind of unique and they all kind of fit together. That's about 50% of polygonal masonry in Peru, because a lot of this work has these gnarly lips. See, it goes coarse, fine, then lip, fine, and then back to coarse. All of these blocks have these insane lips that are absolutely advanced, and you will never see any of these lips anywhere else in the world other than Peru. Nobody can even come close to manufacturing. This is where we get to the alien side. I'm gonna say alien, but this is level 99, like Doom immortality cheat. Your eyes go yellow and you're just shredding monsters, right? This is no longer polygonal masonry. This is total control of physical reality. You just take an andesite block and you do whatever the hell you want with it. And this person, Grissar, is a builder and a technician. He's Russian. He's made like a 10-part series on this build. That's how much time this work deserves. And I'm just going to mute him, and we're just going to go through a little clip. Somebody could argue, oh, you just, obviously this was smoothed out, right? You got this coarse thing here, and you just smooth it out, and then you merge the blocks together. Well, he gives you a little diagram of why that doesn't work. Just using your head, he shows why this is advanced type of masonry. So this is obviously granite, maybe andesite. This is what happens when you smooth out one side of a block and you try and merge 2 blocks together. Right. Experiments have been run on this and people have failed miserably. I know you can't quite see the edge here, but I'll just... Let me see. It's a fail. So that's why this work advanced. This is I think part of the same wall. Again, that lip is here. He kind of highlighted it, but it goes again smooth, coarse, and all of these things are lip. There's a tiny little lip, and you will never see this work anywhere in the world. This is extraordinary, and this is prefabricated dovetail system of a granite sandstone structure. That's all I wanted to say. You'll see me again, like and sub. And if you ever get SGD's fanboys in the comments section bringing up the Bell Lighthouse or any other lighthouse, just direct them here and I'll enlighten them. Thank you. Bye bye.